Good morning to you out there. I'm Cito Beltran. Welcome to the program Agenda. You are watching us via Signal TV channels 8 and 250, as well as on facebook.com/OneNewsPH and on YouTube, OneNewsPH. It's October 5, 2020. It's a Monday, the beginning of a new week, and the beginning, we already did start the new month last weekend, but let's just officially say it's the first week of the month, and we have an interesting day, an interesting week ahead of us because today marks the return, ang pagbabalik ng milyong-milyong mga estudyante. Millions of students go back to school, but not physically. They go back electronically, digitally, distance learning, and that's going to be our new topic for this month, I suppose, and I guess it will be something to watch because it's going to be the first time that an entire country and millions, from the headline of the Philippine Star, 22 million are expected to go back to school under this new system. Will we manage it? Will we actually be able to transition because of the challenges for internet connection, distance, the lack of equipment, etc., etc.? We'll find out, and that's why for today we will start with our report from Shaila Francisco, one of our favorite One News correspondents. She's going to be coming live from a press conference being held at the Department of Education. Then we will also be speaking with Professor Maria Mercedes Diliman, UP Diliman, and she's going to tell us all about distance learning, what are the concerns, what are the challenges, but more importantly, what are the benefits? Because I personally see a lot of benefits here. Hopefully, if the people, our friends at the DepEd, actually changed a few things or tweaked a few things. Personally, my two concerns have always been the fact that students have to get up at ungodly hours. Itong kapitbahay ko dati dito, he had to get up, this poor kid had to get up at like 4:30 in the morning, would be picked up at 5:30 in the morning to be in school. I mean, that's just crazy when all the science tells us children should sleep in and then go to school at a later hour because especially younger children, because they need more sleep than anything. Pero tayo parang we fit the children to our schedule instead of us fitting our schedule to them. In any case, after that, we will also be speaking with our friend Albert Suansing. I think, I don't know, engineer siya, DOTr consultant Alberto Suansing, to find out anyari, what happened to this beep card controversy for the MRT and the carousel bus line of the DOTr, because apparently they wanted the system to be cashless, but now they're forced to go back to cash. And last but not the least, we will speak to Ronald Papatan, a very creative individual who apparently designed and built a jeepney. But not just any ordinary jeepney. It is the smallest jeepney in the Philippines. Let's figure out, because some people are saying, para ano? What for? Well, creativity during the time of COVID, well, it's a very good defense against depression. And mind you, I just saw a video of Jane Pauley, the well-known American broadcaster, where she was talking about depression or low-grade depression. Medyo, alam niyo po, based on the studies, there are so many more cases of people falling into depression because of this pandemic, being locked down with many challenges. But here's the bad part. Many people don't want to talk about it. Many people don't want to analyze it. And Jane Pauley was saying, talking about it is the first medicine. Okay, we'll continue with all of that. It's 8:07. Let's go on to the stories on the front page of the Philippine Star. Over 22 million elementary and high school students are set to begin their classes today while in their homes. 47,000 public schools nationwide are jump-starting academic year 2020 to 2021 after 4 months of delay due to the coronavirus pandemic. This shift to blended learning is the first in Philippine history. Later on the show, correspondent Shaila Francisco will give us the latest from the Education Department, while UP Professor Maria Mercedes Arzadon will discuss with us how to make the most out of distance learning. The Transportation Department has suspended the mandatory use of beep cards at the EDSA busway. And as such, commuters can again use cash to pay for their fares. This after the DOTr and AF Payments Incorporated, the private provider behind the beep cards, failed to reach an agreement, as the government proposed to give the cards to commuters for free. DOTr said that the company is at zero profit with the 80 peso fee for the cards, and they will be at a loss if they waive the fees. We will speak with the transportation consultant, Alberto Suansing, later on the program to get the real score on the matter. And last but not the least, the Intra-Agency Task Force, or IATF, is looking into the ban on foreigners, as some Filipinos are urging the administration to allow their foreign partners to enter the country currently. The government is enforcing travel restrictions on people traveling from COVID-affected countries. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, Vice Chairman of the IATF, said they have received letters calling for the easing of the travel ban, especially to those who have Filipino partners, and those weddings have been delayed due to the pandemic. Okay, now, here's the deal regarding that particular news, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to point out, medyo weird. It's really strange because when we started out with those ideas, it goes to show that the IATF is not really updated, so to speak. Bakit po? Kasi when we came up, or when they came up with those guidelines, the idea was to prevent COVID cases coming into the country. But apparently, the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing, or because they decided to come up with a policy that doesn't make sense. Bakit kanyo? Pinagbawalan mo yung mga foreigner bumalik, pumasok, because here's the thing, no? This news article is addressing foreign fiancés, mga boyfriend, girlfriend na gustong pumunta dito para makasal na sila. Well, is that really a lot? I don't think so. But it's a legitimate concern. But here's the thing. We also banned investors. We also ban company owners. We also ban yung mga foreign executives, mga expats, from being able to return. I mean, I have a lot of friends who can't come back. Yung iba nga lang, babalik lang para ligpit na yung gamit nila at lalayas na sila, uuwi na lang sila sa mga bansa nila, but they can't. And they had to do it by remote control, nakiusap, kay ganito, kay ganon, or moving company, so they could get their stuff out. Now, here's the thing, we are sending home thousands and thousands of Filipinos from abroad. So if you're saying, hindi, kanya namin binan para hindi makapasok yung COVID, sorry po, no? Medyo nakakapasok dahil sa OFW. In fact, yan po ang sinasabi nila. Yung nga lang, ano yun, Princess Diamond ba yun or something, yung cruise ship, doon pinanggalingan. We'll discuss that a little later after we get our first report from Shaila Francisco, our One News correspondent. Shaila, good morning to you.
Good morning, Cito. It is a packed morning for the Department of Education as they officially open the classes today. We are expecting panel discussions on a learning continuity plan and health and safety protocols for the school year, which will be live streamed on Facebook. Around 22 million public school students are expected to go back to school today. At least for this quarter, or for the first quarter, we are expecting majority, or around 13 million, to be using printed modules, while the rest will be using online and offline digital. Now, the Department of Education assured the students that at least for the first 2 quarters, there will be a 1:1 ratio for the printing of modules. And while over the weekend, there were problems in the distribution of modules, the DepEd assured yesterday that it should have been, or they should have finished distributing all the modules yesterday. Now, it was also just yesterday or Sunday that they released the assessment for the students this school year. It will be mostly written works and performative tasks. They will do away with a periodical exam, so you can expect quizzes, long tests, oral presentations, and group works. Now, earlier today, the Department of Education Secretary Leonor Briones told the public that the DepEd is ready for the upcoming school year. Cito?
Okay, Shaila, just a quick question. Have you picked up any information regarding teachers getting COVID-19 while delivering those modules? Because I've been monitoring the reports, and I've heard some teachers mention that sila pa yung nagdi-deliver ng mga modules, medyo sagad-sagad.
There are no cases yet, although some of the teachers group expressed concern over the teachers' risk on COVID-19. Now, in the previous media press conference that we've monitored, the Department of Education assured the safety of teachers. Cito?
Okay, well, Shaila, I won't keep you any longer because I know you're monitoring the major press conference now at the DepEd. I've noticed you've been adjusting your mask a lot. Please take care, be careful out there, and have a good day, Shaila. Okay, that's Shaila Francisco, and that's the problem with face masks nowadays. The thinner version are not form-fitting, and that's scary because they say, dun nga sa mga ER, ICU, may mga nakita ko, especially abroad. You know what they did, especially for COVID-19 ICUs? Nilalagyan nila ng double backing tape yung kanilang mga mask, yung kanilang mga PPE, pati sa mga ano. Kasi it's a way of protecting themselves and protecting themselves from COVID-19, and kahit na papano mabawasan. In any case, I just want to point out the thing about the news, no? Yung kanina, yung sa mga fiancé. Ang dami po, hindi lang po mga boyfriend, girlfriend, fiancé ang dapat nating problemahin na makabalik sa Pilipinas. And if you're going to say na, no, we are trying to minimize COVID-19, well, excuse me, sorry, kung hindi tayo valedictorian, salutatorian tayo dito sa paramihan ng COVID-19 sa Southeast Asia. In fact, nagpapaalis tayo ng mga foreigners para umuwi sa Europe, pero ayaw natin pabalikin. Parang baka mamaya mapagbintangan tayong alawuhan. Lang niya kayo, pinakawalan ninyo lahat yung mga para magkalat ng germs pagkatapos hindi niyo sinasabi. In any case, just my point. Okay, let's go now to our main event interview, for our first interview for the day. We have with us a professor at the UP Diliman College of Education. She specializes in alternative learning systems, or ALS, and homeschooling. And let's discuss this homeschooling. What will be the benefits? Let's bring in Professor Maria Mercedes Arzadon. Good morning, Professor.
Yeah. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Sir Cito, and good morning to all the viewers.
Oh,
It's an honor to be
well,
part of this
we
program today.
thank you for giving us your valuable time, but we really needed to get an expert's view on all of this. Kasi a lot of people are making comments or being critical about how difficult this is. There are so many challenges, etc. I don't hear too many people talking about the benefits, especially for the children, regarding distance learning, etc. Could you give us an insight as to what real benefits there are for
Mhm.
these children and
Yeah.
even for the families?
Yeah, I agree with what you said earlier, na in the past, children would wake up at 4 o'clock and leave their home and, travel to school and go home at 4 o'clock. So wala nang time with the family at magpahinga, no? And so I
Mm.
think this during the pandemic, when children would stay at home, they would have time to rest kasi maraming nagkakaroon ng burnt out because of, requirements sa school. It's
Mhm.
also an opportunity to, to bond with their family kasi there are studies na nagkakaroon ng yung bonding ng mga bata, especially when they become teenager, ay sa mga peers nila, no? Ay nagkakaroon ng conflict between the parents and the children. But this time, because they eat together, they talk together, they play games, it's
Mhm.
also an opportunity to learn life skills. Maraming bata ang natutun mag-garden, tumulong sa bahay. Before, iasa lahat sa katulong, but now they are taking care of their lolo, lola, helping sa online business. They're
Mhm.
developing new hobbies, so it provides a lot of opportunities for children and the family.
You
Um,
know, you see, it seems that pag may problema or may bagong system, people will always point out the problems, will say, nako, kids won't learn. Is it really important to have formal? Bakit noon sumikat naman yung Sesame Street, naging teaching module pa yon, hindi yun formal. The debate
mhm.
regarding formal and informal distance learning.
Yeah. We must remember that the formal schooling was introduced only in the 18th or 19th century. So
Mm-hmm.
for the longest time sa bahay, you learn with, through apprenticeship. You learn through your elders, through your family. So, pero dahil sa industrialization, the need to educate workers to work in the factories, kaya nauso yung formal school. Kaya tingnan mo yung logic ng schooling ay parang factory, yung same batch, they even called the batch, parang sa factory.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi, it was meant to serve the interest of the market, of the state. That time, in the 18th century, they're trying to consolidate yung mga na-colonize nila ng mga states,
Mm-hmm.
So parang they're trying to promote yung idea na gano'n, na you work, you study so that later on you work, in those factories that were established. Unlike before na, kasi mga farmers ang mga tao, they were
Yeah.
also artisans. So they
Mm-hmm.
work, naka-integrate sa bahay, send children to school. Kaya that's the reason some parents chose to homeschool their children. I homeschooled my children when they were young, in
Mm-hmm.
elementary level. Kasi nga ayaw ko yung gumigising sila na maaga. And then I want them to, wake up kung kailan nila gusto. And then they play with their pets, aakyat ng puno. We stayed noon sa probinsya. They
Mm-hmm.
read their favorite books. Kasi when you're doing education at home, you don't need 6 hours because you do one-on-one. It's unlike in
Yeah.
school dahil nga you are working with 30 students. Talagang 6 hours yan. But when you do individualized instruction at home, okay na yung 1 or 2 hours. Then they can do their hobby. They can, play the guitar or, read their favorite book. So yun ang mga opportunities ngayon sa pandemic. I hope that the parents would make learning enjoyable, that they will take charge.
Well,
Hindi
I
yung,
think, Professor, yeah, Professor, maganda yung point na sinabi mo where you can shift the kids or the young adults away from peer pressure, bullying, from wrong values, and where the parents now become the primary source of information and values. Kasi one of the things I heard while doing my research is that people need to realize that because of this force majeure, what will happen is we will now be able to raise children the way we believe they should be raised and not be raised alternatively or yung sinabi mong para silang future factory workers or para silang mga regimented soldiers.
yeah, right. Kasi that's what we need during this time. We need creative professionals, those
Mhm.
who think outside the box. Kaya kung masyado silang nasa subject sa one size fits all standardized type of education,
Mhm.
and then napaaga pa, 3 years old, nag-aaral na, no? And then when
Mhm.
you're in school, hindi pwede magtanong ng bakit? Kasi nga 30 yung mga students. Unlike at home, children have the freedom to ask their parents, to investigate, to
Mhm.
find answers to their question, to think outside the box. Okay,
Mhm.
to learn based on their own learning style, sa na ma-maximize yung learning,
What
and then values also.
what tips can you give parents how to be a great homeschool teacher? Kasi kami we did it for 1 year with our daughter,
Mm.
and it was really a great time. We would physically go to places that was in their social study or history, whatever. Hindi nga lang namin masustain because she's an only child. Eh sabi ng wife
Mm.
ko who is from the Netherlands, sabi niya, It's great for her but she needs to have social exposure because it's bad enough that she's an only child. Pag hinomeschool pa natin yan, baka maging problema. So what are the tips that you have for parents? Kasi I think
Mm.
yan ang magdadala, yung magulang eh.
Oo, no. First of all, you have to know ano ba yung uh, purpose ng ano yung curriculum ng anak nyo, no? You have to know, kasi nandiyan naman sa DepEd website ano yung kailangan nyo matutunan this year. Okay? And then you have to think of ways on how to reach that destination. Hindi ka lang aasa sa sinabi ng teacher o mag-attend ng Zoom meeting, you read this. For example, kung ang isang end is matutunan niya yung history ng Asia, for example, hindi
Mm.
naman lang makinig siya sa lecture. Maybe, he can watch a movie or documentaries, read certain books, ganyan, discuss, may pag-usapan niyo sa kainan, manood ng news. So
Mm.
parang you should know what should be learned. And then pangalawa, make learning fun. Kasi on our studies, the number one reason for dropping out is lack of interest, lack of personal interest. So
Mhm.
make learning fun. Okay? Sabi ng isang parent, ang ginagawa niya before they read the modules, nagdi-discuss muna sila, nagde-debate muna sila ng anak niya, no? Then they
Mhm.
discuss the modules together, So at least when the child would, learn through the modules, nasa right frame na siya, no? Nagiging meaningful yung learning kasi nakipag-discussion na siya sa magulang niya, no? So make the learning fun, relevant. Ano ba yung relevant nito sa buhay natin? And then you seize the moment of learning new things because of the pandemic. Ano ba yung coronavirus na yan? Ano yung flattening the curve? What's happening? Maybe you can look at the statistics, anong countries nang nasa top 20. number 20 na tayo actually. So
Mhm.
so you take you seize the opportunities of learning meaningful relevant things because of the pandemic. And
Mhm.
then you also tignan mo rin yung ano niya, social interaction, ano, baka naman puro computer games na siya. So you make sure that he spends time with his cousins, friends, or if he's playing computer, nakikipag-chat siya sa mga kalaro niya, mga ganyan, ano. So,
Uh, what about scheduling or time in, time out? Kasi siyempre,
mhm,
merong mga designated lessons, work like sheets, etc. Pakainin, pag kumain na, o sige, then we start the lesson. We were very, my wife mostly was very relaxed about it. What should be
mhm,
the system, lalo na for those who have several kids?
schedule. So they want to
Mhm.
start, kunyari, you eat breakfast and then you do, kasi iba wala naman silang study room, ano, so they do their work on the dining table. So
Mhm.
yun, ano, so you create a system, a schedule for those kids who are motivated by a schedule. Pero yung ibang bata, they are motivated by goals. Okay, so yung mga ilang pages ang babasahin ko. So you have checklists. Okay, so
Mhm.
they are motivated when they're able to check, to accomplish all their goals for the day. Ano? So titingnan mo, because some kids who are motivated by the goals, ayaw nila ng strict schedule. Okay? Tatapusin naman nila eh. Kailang depende when they are, minsan ano pa yan, bumibuelo, manonood muna
Mhm.
ng favorite show niya, and then, kung nakabuelo na siya, saka na siya gagawa ng goals niya. However, some kids, they want things, to be done first thing in the morning, right after breakfast. They work for, kung ano yung what works for your child. Depende
Yeah.
yan.
Many of the people, parents I spoke with and teachers I spoke with who were into homeschooling, said you have to make it a point for the child to go to bed early. Whether they get up early or they get up late is not the issue, but they should have a scheduled time for going to sleep. Kasi pag nakaset na yung schedule na yan, malamang at mas malamang daw na maagang gigising at mas maagang magtatrabaho pa yung mga bata.
Mhm. Yeah, depende rin, ano. For younger children, ano, you can suggest what time na dapat matutulog siya, no. The
Mhm.
non-negotiable is dapat 6 hours a day ang tulog niya, or 7 or 8, depende, ano. I think 8 hours for small children.
Yeah.
However, as they grow up, kung teenager na yan, you cannot dictate anymore. They have their own, ano, no, they have their own, kasi you're also training them to be independent learners, to practice self-determination, autonomy. Okay, so as they get older, then they plan kung anong oras lang matutulog. Basta mayroon pa rin kayong non-negotiable to sleep at least 6 to 7 hours. Kung anong oras, depende na sa kanya, no? But
Mhm.
however, if you're able to build the habit early on, and then nakikita niya na kayo rin, you're also disciplined in, in sleeping early at night, then ganun din siya, no? So
Y-
depende
y-
sa age, depende sa interest.
Yeah. Some of us grew up under, under parents and environments na hindi sinasali o people are saying na, itanong mo nga kay professor, o dapat ba pag nagtatrabaho ko, trabaho lang ako, wala yung mga bata, or should there be a mingling, so to speak? Kasi nakita.
Actually, nung nag-homeschool kami, we only spent 1 hour a day for structured learning. The
Mm.
whole time, we were integrating learning in what we're doing around the home, ano. Kaya kung nagluluto, there's what you read the recipe, so there's
Mhm.
literacy there. You measure, there's math, there's chemistry. Namamalengke kami, magkasama kayo mamamalengke, mag-grocery. So when you're in the grocery, there's also math there. You talk
Mhm.
to to other customers. There's community based sa mga studies ng mga anthropologists. That's how farmers, artisans, pass on their work. Bata pa lang, toddler pa lang, sinasama na sila sa work nila, no? Kasi I did my
Mhm.
ethnographic study in Benguet, the vegetable farmers. Baby pa lang, kasi wala namang yaya sa kanila,
Mm.
dinadala na sa garden, ano? And then the child would start helping, nakikikalkal na rin ng lupa later on, inaayaan lang ng parents. Kunyari, nagtatanim-tanim. So that's how they passed on. They transmit the skill, the
Mhm.
technology, ano? Kaya nga, minsan ayaw namin ng masyadong maagang pumapasok na 3 years old pa lang pinapasok kasi the parents are not able to pass on their craft to their
Mm.
children. Lahat na gustong maging professional. Sino pa magiging fisherman or farmers? Kaya
Mhm.
nasisira na yung ating rice terraces kasi lahat gusto magtrabaho na sa ano no, sa
Yeah.
saan-saan
Sa
ano. So kaya very important talaga that the child is immersed, involved sa ginagawa ng parents. And it's also important for the parents to talk to their children to explain what they're doing, and to make the experience fun, hindi yung ano ka ba, pampagulo ka lang diyan, ganyan ano. So
Yan mabuti mabuti ang ano, nabanggit mo 'yan kasi, ah, give us rules, 'di ba? Kasi for couples, yung mga mag-aasawa, 'pag, ayan, nagkaka-counseling 'yan o nagkakaroon 'yan ng mga, marriage retreat, 'di ba? Common that they will tell these couples, "These are the rules for fighting." But what
yeah.
about for parents and children? Do you have any suggestions for rules of engagement?
Siguro one thing important sa ano kasi child rearing na yan is the importance of communication ano. Kaya nga isang sinasabi ko sa amin seminars with parents, during the pandemic you plan to eat together every day. Kasi noon dahil may trabaho, nag-aaral, hindi sabay-sabay, ano? So, yun. There's also a study sa mga countries, sa mga bata nag-exam through PISA, the PISA tulang, ano? Or kinakausap ng magulang sa table
Mm.
every day, ano? Regularly, hindi lang yung paminsan-minsan. And then sila yung mga binabasahan ng storybooks. 'Di ba minsan kahit na toddler pa lang or baby pa lang, meron na silang storybook. So if you read to your child every day. Ako noon
Uh-huh.
3 times a day when I was homeschooling. Uh,
Mhm.
Regularly, you talk together, makipag-usap, makipagkwentuhan, you let them talk around the dining table. Then makikita mo yung result later on. Ano? They learn to love reading. Kasi very important yung reading sa independent learning because you learn to read and then you read to learn. Kaya
Mhm.
ngayon ang aming problema ngayon sa distance education sa DepEd, ano, maraming bata ang hindi dahil distance learning. What will happen kung ang parent nila ay hindi pa literate at hindi practice yung lap reading, ano?
Mhm.
Kaya nga, so that's one thing, if a couple would like to raise a family, make time to eat together, make time to read together, mag-storytelling together. And then pangatlo, you involve your children sa tasks around the house. You build life skills. Dapat mayroon silang responsibility, maghugas ng pinggan, mayroon
Mhm.
magwalis. Kasi they found out that children who are growing up in a workless childhood, kunyari may
Mhm.
katulong, aral-aral lang ano. So they are prone to be more depressed later on and nagkakaroon ng problem with obesity. So talagang very important that you raise them to be, masipag, responsible and involved sa mga trabaho.
At saka
And
lumalaking mga demonyong senyorito.
oo,
No, no,
mga
seriously, I knew
yeah.
of people, I worked for some people who grew up workless environment. Hindi sila pinagtrabaho, puro lang sila aral, aral dito, aral abroad, pagbalik sa Pilipinas, naku po,
Mm,
kung
totoo
tratuhin
yan.
yung mga empleyado, akala mo sila hindi ko malaman kung meron tayo, I won't ruin Monday, Professor.
So yeah, totoo yan.
Hmm.
So kaya maganda yung ibang ginagawa ng iba kaya nagpuput up ng sari-sari store or
Hmm.
they will send their children sa negosyo. Like my child noon, magtatrabaho siya tuwing summer sa isang
Mhm.
pharmacy kasi nasa probinsya kami noon. And so she got to meet itong mga taong walang pambili ng gamot, Kasi sa pharmacy siya eh. So doon
Mhm.
nagkakaroon siya ng social awareness na gano'n pala mami, may mga hindi nakakabili ng enough para sa antibiotics nila, no? Then kumakain siya with the other
Mhm.
sellers. So that was a very helpful experience for her, no? So I think
Okay.
yung mga thing you make your faith attractive to them, hindi yung impose mo sa kanila na dapat magdasal ka, etc. They should see, nakikita nila sa inyo, no? Kasi they need
Yeah.
they need to grow holistically, uh,
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Professor. You've given us a lot of good tips and information, particularly of her entire middle school
that's
life.
great.
No. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Professor.
thank you also, thank you.
Okay, yan po si Professor Maria Mercedes Arzadon. I have to look at the name carefully. She's Professor UP Diliman College of Education. And yun po, no, yung sinabi ni Professor, I just want to make a suggestion, if you folks won't mind. Please go to the Christ Commission Foundation or Christ Commission Fellowship website. Hanapin ninyo yung Motivate series ni Peter Tanchi, because someone pointed that out to me and I found it very useful for many of you. His first one was modeling. Kumbaga ipakita mo, show it to your children. You be the model of what is good, what is right, what is correct. And it's a series of topics that he teaches. And it's all also based experientially for him and his children, and even his grandchildren who are now young adults are also talking about it. So malaking bagay, and as Professor Arzadon pointed out, they need to see this and they need to experience it. Okay? Hindi parents who are working, schooling, kaya naman eh. Ulit, wag niyo sabihing nakaka-active. Chances are it's because they're very intelligent, and chances are it's because they have very intelligent parents. Eh kung ganun yung magulang at ganun yung anak, magpasalamat kayo. Okay, I think we're gonna go for a quick break, and after that, we go to our next interview here on Agenda. Okay, you're back here on Agenda. I'm Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Signal TV channels 8 and 250, as well as facebook.com/onenewsph and onenewsph. Actually, somebody gave me the book. Second was open time, have time. Kakalapit kayo. Hindi yung, diyan ka lang ha, makakuha ka sa tingin ha. Anyway, let's go to our next interview. And under this distance learning system, we are going to need motivation. Okay, let's go to our next guest. He is now, after serving the transportation industry for so long, he was Assistant Secretary of LTO, etc. Now he is, good morning, Kuya Bert. Okay, is Kuya Bert there? I don't know if he's there. Oops, okay, we had with Bert Suansing. What happened with this EDSA bus carousel? Kasi sabi ng DOTr noon, sabi ni Secretary Artugade, gawin ng cashless. Good idea. Very good idea. In fact, that we were saying for the longest time, challenge yan. Paano mo gagawin cashless? Pati yung jeepney. Pero nagagawa naman. Kung yung tram nga, nagagawa doon sa abroad Meron ka lang, ini-swipe mo lang, etc. Whatever. After Alpha Foxtrot card, bilhin nila. Yung beep card daw 80 pesos, wala pang kita yung kumpanya. Ang problema, sabi ni Secretary Tugade, hindi pwede. Kailangan bigay natin libre yan. Again, there's a problem. One company has this reality, idea, very visionary in a way because of our current situation and our history. Kanya lang, kumbaga they were walking two different directions. Yung isa, sabi kong doon sa IATF, friend, ayaw mong papasukin yung mga expat executives, managers, etc. And yet, sasabihin natin, hindi, kailangan makabangon ang industriya, makabangon ang ekonomiya. Kailangan po mag-usap kayo. Kailangan mag-isip kayo and will one morning wake up exclusive will become more inclusive. Ito, katulad yan. Kung sinama mo ba at hindi, alam niyo po, can we please put an end to this kailangan pakiusapan? Nagre-react ang Malacanang, nagre-react ang IATF kasi may mga sumusulat na sa kanila na papasukin naman nyo yung boyfriend ko o girlfriend ko para makakasal na kami. I mean, kailangan, according to this article in this IATF, kasi ang daming gustong pumasok, hindi makapasok. I mean, what's going on? Do these people even talk? So please join me in prayer that President Rodrigo Duterte will one morning come to realize he has to tell the boys club of the IATF, tignupo na at nakri-criticize at tumigil kayo, masyado kayong sensitive. Lord, we just pray for this. And okay, we'll go for a break. When we come back, sana makausap na natin si Bert Suansing. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, we're back here on Agenda. I'm Cito Beltran. And up next, we have the consultant spokesperson for the Department of Transportation, Mr. Bert Suansing. Kuya Bert, good morning. Beep card, kasi alam mo, nung unang karoon pa yan ng mga difficulty, but apparently from challenges, parang ngayon medyo...
Yung AFCS, yung Automated Fare Collection System, has been with us for quite some time na. No? Especially noong nag-resume yung public transport dito sa Metro Manila. So LTFRB issued a memorandum circular. And in that memorandum circular, aside from permitting the bus to operate, nilagay natin doon na dapat yung mga bus should be equipped with automatic fare collection. Now, as far as kung sino yung server or yung ano nila, kausap nila, hindi kami kasali doon. Basta ang sinabi lang namin is dapat merong AFCS sa kanilang mga bus. So, ang ginawa namin, since ano pa naman yan, July, and then ngayon, as far as EDSA carousel is concerned, ginawa na namin mandatory, no? Na cashless transaction na since October 1st. Nagkaroon ng problema nung inumpisa na ng October 1st kasi tinaas ng provider yung cost ng card, no? From 50 pesos, ginawa nilang 80 pesos. So ang cash out as far as the passenger is concerned is 180 pesos from 150. So nagising yung nagising na tuloy yung tao, bakit ganun kalaki ang charges ng AFCS, which is yung Ayala tawag ito BIP Ayala.
Okay.
The same that the secretary issued a plea, no? Pakiusap nga lang muna sa provider.
What I read, now here's the thing, magkano bang pera, how much money are we talking about in order for the riders to get this for free? Because kung pira-piraso lang, if we take, there are for the EDSA carousel, and can't the government afford it, considering we're giving away 5,000 to 8,000 pesos per family for the social amelioration program fund?
Well, as far as parang uminom ka ng so ang sinasabi namin, if you look at the whole system, kikita na kayo eh. So bakit pagkakakitaan niyo pa yung card na kung ano yung nilagay nila ron sa sistema? So kami, okay, tanggap namin yan. O kung halimbawa, 80 pesos ang cost ng card. But then if you take a look at the whole system, may kita na kayo. No? Because aside from yung, I call it Cito XYZ. What's X? X is yung sinisingil ng provider, no? AFCS provider sa bus operator on a per month basis, which is 3,900 pesos. Then say, ito yan, nagbayad ng 180 pesos yung pasahero. Ito ka ride from Monumento yung 35 pesos. Wala yan sa pasahero, wala rin yan sa bus. Pero nandun yan sa provider. So yun ang sinasabi namin. No? Halimbawa na lang, 80,000 cards yan na-dispose sila. Tapos times 30 pesos.
Yeah.
So you can already see the enormous amount of money na kahawak nila. No? And ako, with my little knowledge of finance, ang tawag yata dyan ay float.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, I think we have a floating signal from Mr. Bert Suansing. So yun, medyo lumiliwanag, may natitira, may tingi na 35 pesos dun sa beep card, pero wala sa pasahero, wala rin sa bus operators. But I'm sure if they all just sit down, they can resolve this. Yung si Secretary Tugade pa, naku, kayang Mr. Suansing back on the air. From what I understand, nung inintor So technically, there's Suansing coming back if LDT fiber optic at gawin nyo 100 Mbps dedicated para sa inyo lang. Kasi alam niyo po, may mga kaibigan tayo. Ayan, eto na si Kuya Bert. Kuya Bert, magpakabit ka na ng PLDT fiber optic. In any case, anak ko, talaga lumulutang. Pati yung signal nag-float na. Well, I think we're just gonna have to, I don't know, I leave that to you guys. The cashless system, conductors were removed from the transactions. Baga, no, wala nang conductor yung mga bus. So, nakakatipid yung bus operator by, sabihin mo na, magkano ba yung minimum salary, di ba? 5,000 o 8,000 or whatever. Pero, yun din yung naging isang issue dyan sa cashless system. Tayo, magkano talaga kinikita niyang mga bus na yan, okay? Pero, ang tanong, kawawa naman. Sir Bert Suansing, one more chance. Parang ano no? Sino ba yun? Matt Monroe. Okay, Kuya Bert, are you back? Okay, I don't know. I think the lag is just too long. Yun po, no? So, pag-uusapan pa yan. And I think they can discuss this. It's no big deal except that it's a big deal for the rider. Alam niyo po, ngayon lang ako, I knew about the dickers. Alam ko po yan for the longest time na talagang tinitipid nila kasi mahal yung pamasahe. Kung ikaw ay tiga Quezon City, bandang dun sa Fairview o Farview kung tawagin nila, tapos magtatrabaho ka din sa Pasig, sa Ortigas o sa Makati, medyo mahal talaga, no? Region who have down to the change in the equation and they can't move. And I saw that. I hope the DOTr sorts that out. But personally, alam niyo po, sa Europe ngayon, if you watch BBC, and ako kasi ganun palipat-lipat, talagang sinasagap ko yung mga balita, looking for good ideas. And then France, and then Italy. They featured several countries, and they have invested billions of euro, okay? Euro for bicycles. Some have even given discounts for the purchase of bicycles. Kasi alam niyo po, dito lang sa Pilipinas, sabi nung isa, paano naman sito ang init-init sa EDSA? Problema ba yon? Di gumawa tayo ng lane, tapos lagyan natin ng net sa ibabaw. Meron po nabibili dito sa kaibigan kong kay Harvest. Okay, si Toto Barcelona. Meron sila yung tinatawag na 70% reduction. Pag nilagay yung lambat na yun sa ibabaw mo, wala. Simple lang po yun. Maglalagay kang ilang poste along that bicycle lane, maglalagay kang kabilya, itatali mo yung lambat doon. Wala nang masyadong init. Yung direct sunlight lang ang pinag-uusapan natin at yung mga takot mangitim nga. Ayaw ninyo yung aming our next interview. Here on agenda, I'm Cito Beltran into car restoration. old cars. I love old cars at talagang naging galaw. Pero one of the things that I always wanted to get my hands on, but I mean, not really seriously, but you kind of wishful thinking. Sabi ko, ang sarap sigurong maka-bar lolo mo or whatever, and then iwanan na doon, and then ikaw, pagbukas mo, para may nahanap ka, bigla na discover mo na intact, complete, as if it was, it looks the same way that your looking na jeep. Yung bang ang 6-passenger, yung auto kalesa. Ewan ko, itong next guest natin, he came up ni. How small is Cito? Let's speak with Tonton Carlton Papatan. Para tan-tan tonton. Okay, Tonton, are you there?
Yes po, Mr. Cito Beltran. It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, Tonton.
Jeepito with our Mayor, Benjamin Magalong po sa City Hall.
Aha. Okay, abay napaka-cute pero kakaiba yung itsura. What was the reason? Why did you come up with the Jeepito?
Kasi kami po ever since ay into community service and I'm also an environmental planner. So nung conceptualize yung lahat po mula bata hanggang matanda, ma-appreciate siya pag nakita nila, very attractive. So lahat ng mga tourist spot po na mapupuntahan namin.
Pero sandali.
Pero itong Jeepito po, ang ano po niya, ang length is 92 inches only. Tapos yung height po is 55 inches at yung width po niya, ano lang po siya, 42 inches. Kaya ang kasya po talaga dyan, yung driver lang po, isang pasahero sa harap at tag-isang pasahero each side sa likod. So total 4 lang po.
Okay, and cute siya kung sa cute, ano? Pero
Display kasi pina-copyright po namin siya sa sa IPO para mag-isa lang po siya sa buong mundo as a world.
Okay, matanong ko, ano ba ang makina niyan? This is the into bakal yan, gaano katagal inabot?
Months lang po. Pero ang less. Pero ang ginamit po naming makina is yung 3-cylinder sa multicab po. Kasi po ito po yung kaya yung umakyat sa
Mga pyesa ng jeepney pero you obviously shrunk many of it.
Yes,
Kasi alam ko yung wala pa sa 4 feet yung lapad ng buong sasakyan. Di yung hood pa lang. Alam ko yung hood pa lang ng
talagang kinostomize siya. From scrap po, kinostomize siya. Ito po, nasa isang hotel po yan. Kasya sa mais po talaga para yung proportion po niya, kuhang-kuha yung jeepney po. Hindi siya magmukhang kinonvert lang na ibang sasakyan.
Okay. Ano naman ang naging pakinabang nag-restore, gumawa ng sasakyan? Sa una matutuwa yung tao, pagkatas bandang huli experience mo sa paggawa nitong Jeepito na ito.
Bali sa Jeepito po, ano po talaga, napakadami. It changed my life even more for the better. Dahil po from the start, 1 week pa lang po namin ni-launch noong 2015 December. Nagsunod-sunod na po yung mga programs. So lumabas na po sa maraming noontime shows, sa mga pelikula. So marami na po kaming napuntahang mga pelikula. At nag-travel na rin po kami sa Pilipinas. And ang pinakamaganda po is napopromote namin yung tourism. And dahil dyan, just recently, meron po kaming partnership program ng City of... Dahil nga sa banta ng pandemic, ay... ipopromote po namin. So meron kaming programa para ma-promote ang tourism and local business. And para po sa akin, talagang malaki ang natulong personally dahil aside sa maraming foundations po namin. And we ourselves was able to build a foundation named Jeepito Republic. So
Okay, but how much did that thing cost you?
Ito po, nung kinonstruct po namin, ang nagastos po namin is 165,000 po kasi talagang kami naman po
50,000 pesos para i-rehistro lang yung sasakyanan. Ano nangyari at bakit ka mahal-mahal magparehistro niyan? Bago naman yan, hindi naman yan katulad ng aking mga nire-restore na nanggaling pa sa ilalim ng lahar.
Nung time po kasi na yun ng 2015, talagang dinesign po namin at in-start i-build ito sa Baguio City. Pero dahil gusto namin i-surprise yung aming trusted na mga tauhan, pero nung nirehistro po dahil nirarush po namin para umabot ng Pasko at para registered po siya legally. So, ayun po, mga services para ma-rush na po ng mga staff namin.
Ayun pala. Akala ko naman yung pang LTO pa lang 50,000 na Medyo paiimbestiga na natin kung saan LTO yan. Hindi naman pala LTO. What are your long-term plans? Kasi alam mo, pag yan kumalat sa internet, which I'm sure it already is, at may mga mag-o-order, yan ba naisip ninyong gawing pang-export? Kasi
Talagang since
Okay.
dahil nga po yung niya, yung value niya bababa pag na-duplicate. And syempre kami naman, we support the environment at pag dumami symbol to attract po talaga. Opo.
Yeah, Tonton, I'm a very strong supporter of the Intellectual Property Office and Intellectual Property Protection. So, align tayo dyan. Kanya lang, parang ang tanong ko, ano yung kinopyright mo? Yung pangalang Jeepito or yung idea na pinaka-smallest jeepney? Kasi pag sinabi mo jeepney, my friend, iconic yan. Kumbaga public domain yan. Paano ginawa mo dyan?
Opo. I made sure po na ang makopyright dito is yung copyright ko, not just yung name po. Para
Okay.
at least hindi po siya ma-duplicate kasi may mga nag-try po mag-duplicate kasi gusto nilang bilhin, but I told them hindi po for sale yung Jeepito. Actually may nag-offer po. Sobrang laki noon yung ino-offer. Pero sabi ko, the purpose of Jeepito is talagang to support the tourism and government.
Mo binenta yung prototype, yung first model mo, paano na nga yan? Kung biglang may mga foreigners na nagsasabi, o kaya mga kababayan natin abroad na magsabi siya, Tonton, gusto kong kakaiba yung sasakyan ko, pwede bang magpa-made to order?
Dito po actually marami po recently, actually from the start. So ang ino-offer po namin with the Jeepito, with the concept of Jeepito, ang pwede po namin gawin is magagawa namin sila ng mga miniature, mga owner type jeepney or po itself or maliit na jeep, hindi po namin tinatanggap.
Okay. So talagang balak mo maging one of a kind yan. Ano na ba yung first order sa'yo? Sabi ko na nga ba, mabuti hindi ka nadedemanda dyan kasi di ba yung hammer na yan medyo meron din mga brand yan. Baka mamaya may kumatok sa pintuan mo.
Yung dito po, pinapa-customize po nila yung ganung design, although wala nakasulat na hammer po. Pero po, na sinasabi nga po na na yung brand na Jeep po, which is an American brand, ay and yung mga attorney nila sa akin years before ng parang regarding nga po sa patent. Pero in-explain po namin, we sent a letter again na we are proof na it talagang wala siyang purpose na talagang magamit yung jeepney. Actually, yung jeepney na brand po, hindi nyo talaga maiisip pag nakita yung Jeepito.
Hindi kasi Jeep at saka Jeepito medyo malapit nga naman. So siyempre naaalarma sila. Tama lang naman pero nagkaayos naman kayo. Wala naman naging problema.
Yes po, I sent a lot of documents dun sa mga attorneys nila. So nakita nila po na talagang ibang-iba po even yung or pinagkakakita way at all po.
Sabagay kasi parang nauuso ngayon.
Yes po, talagang po siya, kinostomize po namin siya na kasya po talaga ang isang Filipino adult. And ang nakakatuwa po dito, dun sa passenger side sa harap po, yun po yung medyo niluwagan po namin na kahit ang mga basketball players natin sa PBA, including Mr. Cito Beltran, so shout out po sa inyo, ay nakasakay na po siya dyan at nagkasya po siya sa loob ng Jeepito.
Baka may nagtuto ko magmaneho yan ba nakatagilid yung driver o diretso?
Ay, hindi po. Ang upo po niya, diretso po talaga. Yung comfortable naman po, talagang siguro mag-a-adjust lang. Na parang naka-squat po siya, pero relax po siya. So, kaya po regular ang Miss Universe. So, nakakatuwa po kasi ang dami na po talaga mga napuntahan at mga nakahalubilo ni Jeepito.
Marami na bang pirma sa Quezon yan? Yung mga autograph, I'm sure.
Yung mga customized plate number lang po namin, doon po namin kasi syempre si Jeepito talagang umiiyak.
Congratulations, at least malinis yung pagkakagawa base doon sa nakita ko mga pictures and video, malinis yung pagkakagawa at sana ay maging kaakit-akit yan doon sa mga turista dyan at ma-enjoy. Ano yan, pasasakyan mo ba yan sa mga turista? Kung gusto sumakay o mag-selfie, pwede ba? O naka-ano yan?
Basta meron po tayong safety protocol na naka-face mask and face shield po tayo pagpapasok tayo sa loob with me, kailangan po nating sundin para ma-drive. Pero kung magpapapicture po, pwede po at ngayon po talagang maganda yan dahil magtatanong kami ng mga trivia sa mga turista dito sa Baguio at pag nasagot nila, meron po kaming mga prizes naman po ang tourism. And dahil po nagagawa dito sa Baguio City, lalo na doon sa Baguio Barter community, na ang dami pong followers. Kaya very effective po talaga sa promotion.
Okay. And, what's your new next?
Sabi ko nga po dun sa mga kaibigan ko na nagtatanong kasi meron po talagang naka-line up. Pero pag tinitignan po talaga namin, one aside sa iconic symbol na po yung nare-represent niya and very Filipino, tapos lahat nakaka-associate sa jeepney at lahat nakaka-associate mula bata hanggang matanda. Talagang sobrang gandang idea na lang po ang makakatapat sa talagang sa magic ng Jeepito. As a
Kabaliwan ko, kami ay nakagawa na kami ng all-aluminum 1966 Mustang Fastback. Dahil lang sinabi ng isang iniidolo kong car collector, sabi sa akin, hindi kaya ng Pilipinong gumawa ng aluminum body. Awa ng Diyos, inabot kaming 9 months, pero yun, nagawa namin, na-exhibit namin, na car of Jeepito and come up with an even higher, bigger challenge for you. Congratulations, Tonton.
Get a very good idea, just like Jeepito, because it's small but amazing, just like the Philippines and just like Baguio City po.
Okay, thank you very much, Ton, and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cito Beltran po.
The creator of Jeepito, the smallest jeepney, the cutest jeepney in the world. Tunay pong jeepney, the tunay in jeepney, Japanese nga lang ang laman. Kasi nung panahon ng MacArthur, Balvin Head, etc., ngayon ay Japanese na yung mga laman. Encourage you to your loved ones. And hindi lang po kasi ngayon, that of time. How do you make quality time? Make it a time spent with your loved one, but make it special. Hindi po special na kwarta-kwarta, no? Yung magbigay kang breakfast. Please join us tomorrow as we continue on another episode of Agenda.